was really up here planning my own funeral. Ooh, yikes. I've been trying to do this video for quite some time, but I've been in my own head about it, and we are not going to allow perfection to stop us. Amen. Hey y'all, my name is Bree, simply Bree, and welcome to my channel. Finally me, finally Bree, where honestly I'm just on a journey to rediscover my life, reimagine my life, rewrite my story, and romanticize it, as the girlies say. And I'm on this journey because I'm a wife and a mom. And while I love those jobs, I've lost myself along the way trying to fulfill those roles. And so, yeah, I'm here, and I'm hoping that women 35 and older-ish will join me. Guys too, if you need it. But women, I know you understand where I'm coming from. So for this first video, I have to tell you the truth. It's a little heavy. Okay. Just want to give a disclaimer that it deals with suicide ideation, thoughts of suicide, plans of suicide, and it is my story. And while I have come out on the other side, I recognize that there are people that have decided that suicide was their way out. And so if you have lost a loved one to suicide, I hold space for you. I hold space for that loved one. And if you are currently having thoughts of suicide, I hope that something is said to make you pause, to make you reach out for help. Let somebody in your village know, your community know, I'm not okay. I do need some help. All right? So let's get into it. Hold on. So yes, this is the story of how I planned my own funeral. And I've never told this story before, not in this type of setting. A lot of people that even know me personally don't know this about me. But this is my story. And while I am telling this for me as a part of my healing journey, I know that I'm not alone. So have you ever gotten up in the morning, opened your eyes, and everything was wrong? Like nothing happened. No one did anything to you, but you woke up and everything was just bad. And that's what happened to me. It was 2024, like between, I want to say like March, April. And I remember one day just waking up really sad. Nothing had happened. Okay. My husband, whom I love dearly, he wasn't mean to me. My children were fine. I'm a Gigi. My grandbaby was fine. My parents were good. Like in-laws good. Everybody was good. Everything was okay. But I was really, really sad. And I felt like I was literally just drowning in darkness. And don't get me wrong, like I'm familiar with depression because a good part of my life I have dealt with fighting depression, being up, down, in and out of it, and just dealing with it, right? Trying different therapists and trying to figure out what works and what brings me joy. But this particular time, the seconds rolled into minutes, the minutes bled into hours, and the hours into days, and so forth and so forth. And I looked up and it had been a couple of weeks and I couldn't shake this feeling. I was spending days just crying on my couch or in the bed, not wanting to get up, not wanting to get out of the bed. And I remember my husband just asking me, babe, are you okay? You all right? You what's going on? You're different. Something isn't right. Something in my spirit is telling me that your spirit isn't okay. And I look at him and I just didn't know how to answer. Most times I would just cry, and he would pray for me. I love my husband. Hey, Marcus. Hey, baby. I love my husband. But I knew that this was at that point bigger than him. And I know that he felt helpless, like he really didn't know what to do. So I decided that I had hit the end of my sadness road, and I didn't want to deal with depression anymore. And I thought that the only way that I could get out of dealing with it was to plan my own funeral, which would happen by way of assisted suicide. And now that I'm looking back on it, it was in that time, I thought, one of the most selfish things that I had ever done for myself. This didn't have anything to do with anyone else. This was simply about what Bree needed and what Bree thought was best for her at that moment. And I didn't want to talk to anybody about it because, of course, they're going to try to talk me out of it. So I remember looking at Google, looking this up, assisted suicide. And even in the planning of what I thought was going to happen, I tried to be very intentional and thoughtful, which sounds crazy because I like Google, but like on the incognito tab, because I didn't want anyone to go through my history and be like looking for signs or, when did she start planning this or when did she look at this? I knew that I didn't want to die close to a holiday because then the holiday would be associated with my death. I knew that I didn't want to die at home because then my family would have to move. I'm trying to think through the things. I'm trying to think of the people that's going to be impacted the most, which would be my husband, my son, and my mom. And so I started making plans. I started making these plans and how I wanted my funeral to be. And I was going to leave very specific instructions because I didn't want to be a burden. Even in my death, I didn't want to be a burden on anyone. I wanted this to be very smooth. So I thought. In hindsight, I know that's not what would have happened, but so I thought. So shout out to friends. Shout out to my friends, my community, but these two friends in particular. And let me just say this. My happiness was never the responsibility of anyone else. Okay, it is not the responsibility of my husband, my child, or my friends or family to make me happy. But I appreciate that my friends saw that something was wrong and they held me accountable and they called me out on it. So, Lauren and Tiffany, two of my girls, sisters, basically said, we're taking you out, right? Or we're taking you out. And I didn't want to go. I'm be honest. I did not want to go. Again, I'm spending most days crying. I'm crying in my bed. I'm crying on the couch. I'm taking my son to school and picking him up from school, crying while he's in the back seat, trying not to let him see the tears. Like I'm just going through the day. So I don't want to be at a restaurant crying. They said, we're going to grab food and we're going to take you out. All right. We grab food. And I remember, they took me to Mexican, which is my fave. And the girls went all out. Listen, we had guac, sangria, all the things. And we sat down and they basically said, we noticed that something's different. What's going on? And I promise you, at that moment, the room got really quiet. I looked at them and said, I don't want to be here anymore. And I think that was the first time I actually said it aloud. And the reaction from them, they didn't know how to react. Because what do you say to someone that you love that says they don't want to be here anymore and they've made up their mind? And we spent the evening just talking it through. But in my mind, there was nothing that anyone could say to make me change my mind. And I remember Tiffany, who I've known for a long time, asking me, had I told my sister Bay. If you know Sister Bay, you're gonna hear about her. But if you know, you know. If I had told my sister and if I had told my mom, and I was like, no. And she said, well, if you don't tell them, I will. If you don't tell them, I will. They also threatened me to get a doctor, to find a doctor, which it's important to notate that I had tried. At that particular point, I was a new entrepreneur and trying to figure some stuff out. And I had a medical card. And if you ever had a medical card, you know that your resources and your options are limited. But they told me to find a doctor. They was like, well, maybe you just low on vitamin D. The sun isn't really out. So let's go and get you some vitamin D pills, vitamins. And we did. We went to the store, got the vitamin D, and I felt a little bit better, but I still wanted to die. I was still very sad. I was still thinking about what would my husband and my son do when I'm gone. And I could only hope and pray that, my husband would get me remarried one day and my son would have someone to love him, to kind of fill in the gaps. This is what's going on in my mind. I just knew that I wanted the feeling that I have had to go away. I couldn't deal with it any longer. And I continued on with my plans, but I kept my promise and I started to reach out to people in my village. And I reached out to my sister first, I believe. And I told her what was going on. She got really quiet. And because she's had people in her life that have dealt with something very similar. She said, okay, let me know what you need. And I never had an answer to that question because I didn't know what I needed. It wasn't as simple as just go to a therapist or something. Like I don't know if it was hormone. I didn't know. And then I remember calling my mom. And I was terrified to call my mom because I'm her only child. And I remember sitting at the car dealership while I was waiting to get my car serviced. And I stepped out. And I said, hey, Mom. I called her. I think she missed my call. And she called me right back. I was like, hey, Mom, I need to talk to you. I need to tell you something. Of course, she went to straight mama. Oh, Lord, what's wrong? And I remember saying to her, hey, and just starting to cry. I said, hey, I've been having these thoughts. And I don't want to be here anymore. I said, I don't want to live anymore. I don't think I deserve to be here anymore. I'm always sad. I just want to be happy, Mom. And looking back on that moment, I can only imagine what she felt because I'm a mom. And I know the very thought of my sons not being here with me, heartbreaking. And she got really quiet. And and my mom doesn't cry. She doesn't cry. But I could hear her kind of like sniffling. And she's like, well, what do you mean, Brittany? Like you, she said, you have so much to give this world. Why? She said, you have so much to give and so much to do. Why wouldn't you want to be here anymore? Like, what happened? And I think the hardest thing for me was that nothing happened. I couldn't guide anyone back to a moment to pinpoint when things went wrong. I just knew that they were wrong. I ain't got no tissue around me. Who talk about poor planet? Oh, God, okay. Whew. So I talked to my mom and I cried, of course. And she said, whatever you need, I got you. Therapist, whatever. Like, I don't care how much it costs. We gonna figure this out. Because I can't lose you. And then it kind of hit me. that not only would my mom be losing her daughter, but my son would be losing his mom. I have a son that I birthed, and I have a bonus son. And the son that I birthed, at this particular time, he was only 15 years old, and he's a sensitive kid. He's a sensitive kid, and he loved his mama. He don't play about his mama. And I knew that if something happened to me and he found out that I did it to myself, that I made a choice to leave him, that he would take it personal. I knew that he would blame himself, and I knew that that would probably result in him harming himself in some way. He's never done it before, but I knew that it would break him and it would change him. And I couldn't leave him like that. I couldn't rest peacefully knowing that I left this little boy broken. I mean, my husband is older, so I knew that his life would be changed, but I knew that some type of way he would figure out a way to navigate life without me. But my baby, nah. So, all things considered, I guess you could say, I decided that it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time. And I wanted to find a reason to live within myself. And I'm going to be very honest. I am a God girl. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. But during these moments, I didn't want anybody to do the stereotypical thing of, oh, let's just pray together. Let's just do, like, I didn't want that. I didn't want any religious jargon thrown at me, because what I was feeling was very, very, very real. And I needed to hear from God himself. Even when I went to church and I felt like, oh, I'm just sitting here and nothing is happening, I had to dig inside of myself to say, God, I can't even lift my hands, but if you are the God that you've always been, I need you to help me. And little by little, day by day, I just started to feel a little bit better. It didn't come all at once. It wasn't a miraculous thing. It wasn't a miracle. Like the skies didn't crack open and, whatever. I just started to feel better little by little. And I decided that, yeah, I want to live my life. And that's what I've been trying to do and working to do ever since then. Literally every single day, I have to make a decision to live. Some days are much easier than others. I am still looking for a therapist. I have better insurance now. So, if you have a therapist that you love, especially if you're in Chicago, shoot me a message, comment, whatever. I'm open. But I just have to make the decision. And on the days when depression is like, hey girl, I'm still here, I don't choose to look the other way. I do my best to face it head on, figure out what led to it, why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and what I need to do to change it. I've also been just seeking joy from within. Again, it's no one's responsibility to make me happy and to give me joy. My husband always says, happiness is fleeting, joy is unshakable. So I've been just working to find that joy, find those things, and stuff like this is helping me to get back. Okay, Jesus. The plant. Stuff like this is helping me. And so I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. And I'm just happy y'all are here with me. So all the videos will not have me crying. Face just wet, okay? All the videos will not be deep. Content will not be deep. But it's gonna have some moments. It's gonna have some moments. But I'm so happy that you all are here with me. So, what did they say? Like, subscribe, share, follow me on socials, jump in the DM, say, hey girl, hey, comment, let me know that you heard me, you saw me. And yeah, I don't know what y'all do, the content creators do to wrap it up, but bye.